What's up, guys? It's the Ghost of the Mokes here, Beetlejuice. Excuse me, wrong video. What's up, guys? RGT85 here, and today on the channel there's a couple stories floating around that I definitely want to cover. First off, we're going to talk about a new potential PS5 leak and why I don't think it's real. Then we have to talk a bit about the Elder Scrolls Blades for the Nintendo Switch, because we got some new information on it, and it might be disappointing to some players of this game. Then we have to talk about a new Nintendo Switch bundle that's admittedly weird as hell, and finally Capcom. Capcom. You guys don't get why I hate Capcom, but maybe this next story will make you realize why I do. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about what's going on in the world of video game news. So first off, of course, the PS5 is definitely a very hot topic. We've been covering it pretty extensively on this channel because I'm looking forward to the system. Of course, there's a lot of cool things that we've already learned about this system, such as ray tracing, which, I don't know, I kind of need to see it to believe it, to see how powerful this system will be, and a potential release window of holiday 2020 for this. But do we have some more information coming out now about the PlayStation 5? Of course, a couple days ago, we talked about the potential for it to have full backwards compatibility with everything from PS1 discs to PS4 discs, which I think would be really cool. But now one website is actually listing a release date and a price point for the PlayStation 5, and a lot of people are running with this story, and I'm not really sure why they're doing that. So a European website by the name of Pro Gaming Shop has put up a listing on their website basically giving a price point and a release date for the PlayStation 5. They say that the system will be releasing on December 4th of 2020, which is potentially within the holiday window, and then it will have a €500 price point, which translates to about $600 in the United States. So really, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm just thinking this is just a random listing for a multitude of reasons. First off, let's talk about the December 4th release date. Now, yes, the PlayStation 1 did release around that same time frame when the first PlayStation hit the market, but obviously the video game landscape is very different now. Holiday sales are very important. The video game industry has grown so much since the PlayStation 1. I would think a November release date would make more sense for the PlayStation 5 because you want to get as many holiday sales as possible. Now, obviously, Nintendo has released software recently, such as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate released in early December of last year, but still, when you're talking about hardware, I think you want to have that window as big as possible. So I think a November release date is definitely more likely than a December release date for the PlayStation 5. And as far as the price point is concerned, €500, which is about $600 in the United States, that just seems too high for me. Going under the assumption that Sony is only going to release one SKU of the PlayStation 5. Now, there is always a chance they could release multiple SKUs at the launch of the system, but going under the assumption that there is only one SKU, I think $600 is just too much. I don't foresee Sony wanting to hit that price point. Of course, you saw that with the PlayStation 3, and it just didn't sell very well. It seems like consumers have a hard limit of like $500 for new systems, and even that is pushing it. So I think the $500 price point is definitely more likely. If Sony does release multiple SKUs, I could see at least one of those SKUs being $500, but $600 just seems a bit high for me. So I'm just taking this as a grain of salt. I don't know why so many places are reporting that this could be an official thing, but let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Is $600 too much for the PlayStation 5, or would you pay for it? Next up, we have to talk about some Bethesda news and Elder Scrolls Blades for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game, of course, was shown off before. It is a port of the mobile free-to-start Elder Scrolls experience that some people seem to like it, some people seem to not like it. I mean, it is free to start, so I probably will check it out when it releases. But details have been a bit scant as far as what this Nintendo Switch version of the game is actually going to entail. Well, in a recent interview with someone working on the game by the name of Craig Lafferty, who is working on the Nintendo Switch version of Elder Scrolls Blades, that was done by Nintendo Everything. There'll be a link in the description box down below. We learned a couple things about this game. One of the things we learned is that there will be no touch controls for the Nintendo Switch version of the game, which, I don't know, that's kind of strange to me. Obviously, the mobile version of this game is based on touch controls, but the Nintendo Switch version won't have touch controls. Now, of course, you can't really do touch controls when it's in docked mode, but when it's in handheld mode, I think that wouldn't be a terrible idea. So some people are a bit worried about that. Me personally, I don't really care. It would have just been a nice feature. But one thing that is troubling about this game is whether or not the Nintendo Switch will need to be online to play this game, and yes, it does. So in the interview with Craig Lafferty, he said the following about the game always having to be online. Yes, it will, but having an offline mode is something we definitely hear from a lot of people for the game in general. So that's something we always constantly look at, like how we would do it. We want to make sure the online game, we're adding PvP in the fall, we want to make sure cheating isn't an issue. So it's like, how do we do an online mode that makes sense? Right now, we're requiring an internet connection, but in the future, it's something we may add if we can have a good solution for it. Now, to me, this is very stupid, I feel. Like, I sort of get it, but when you look at mobile phones, of course, mobile phones have mobile data. So even if you don't have Wi-Fi accessibility wherever you're at, if you choose to use your mobile data, you can do that to play this game. But with the Nintendo Switch, you can't really do that. You have to have a Wi-Fi connection in order to access online. And considering the Nintendo Switch is a portable system, having no offline mode for this game just seems really weird to me. It's obviously not a game that is sort of rooted in PvP stuff, as the PvP stuff isn't even in the game yet. It's obviously based on more of a single player style experience with this game, as most Elder Scrolls games were. So why is this a thing? Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. It's yet another questionable decision in Bethesda's long laundry list of questionable decisions as of late, and it kind of sours me on the game a little bit. So let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. We're starting to see more and more Nintendo Switch related bundles, but this new bundle, it's the weirdest freaking bundle I've ever seen in my life. Of course, we've seen things like the Fortnite Nintendo Switch bundle. Recently, we had the Dragon Quest XI Nintendo Switch bundle that released in Japan only. So in different regions, you get sorts of different bundles and things like that. But have you ever heard of a Middle Eastern exclusive bundle? No, you probably haven't. Well, now there's a Middle Eastern exclusive bundle, and I want you guys to guess what the game is, because I think I could give you like 50 guesses and you would never guess it. So is it a first-party Nintendo game? Maybe a little bit of Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the ever-popular Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, maybe a Nintendo Switch game that didn't sell all that great from Nintendo, such as ARMS. Maybe it's a third-party game like we saw with Dragon Quest XI in Japan. What could this game possibly be? So what is the game that comes with this bundle? It is Battle Chasers Night War. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Remember that game that THQ published for the Nintendo Switch? Well, there's an exclusive Nintendo Switch bundle that's coming out in the Middle East containing this game. So instead of it actually being on the box art of the actual Nintendo Switch, there's like a cardboard cover sleeve that goes over the actual box that shows you that you're getting Battle Chasers Night War with this Nintendo Switch. It either comes with neon Joy-Cons or standard gray Joy-Cons, and it comes with a physical version of this game. How did this bundle even come to existence? Like, is this a popular series in the Middle East? Like, are a lot of people looking forward to this Nintendo Switch bundle? It's literally the most random bundle I have ever seen, and I'm wondering if Nintendo Switch system collectors are actually going to import this. I know a lot of people like to get the different Switch variants and the console bundles, so I'm wondering if this is going to be a hot item. Obviously, people in the Middle East care about this game. I don't know, it's just kind of completely random to me. But yes, if you want another Nintendo Switch bundle and this is something that you're looking forward to, you'll have to import it from the Middle East. And finally, I mean, Capcom. Some people don't understand why I talk so much about Capcom and why I say I have a love-hate relationship. I think I do a good job of explaining that, but it's basically I love Capcom franchises, and I think some of their franchises are some of the greatest of all time, but Capcom makes very strange decisions from time to time, especially with the Nintendo Switch. We have seen it time and time again on this platform, and now we have yet another questionable comment coming to us from Capcom about the Nintendo Switch. So in a recent interview with Yoshinaro Ono, who's the producer for Street Fighter, he was basically asked about bringing more Street Fighter related games to the Nintendo Switch. Of course, so far on the Nintendo Switch, we have had 2 Street Fighter related games, and Mr. Ono said the following: "Can you go over to the Nintendo booth and maybe just shout that at the VIPs in the backstage? Because they're the ones you really need to talk to, not me. Even our previous Nintendo title, Ultra Street Fighter 2, Nintendo came to us and said we want to do something with Street Fighter 2 because it's been 25 years since it came out on previous Nintendo consoles. So I think they're the ones you need to convince. Go and mob that booth." So if we want more Street Fighter games on the Nintendo Switch, we need to actually ask Nintendo, not the company who makes Street Fighter or the person who produces Street Fighter. I'm sorry, does that make any sense to anyone? Like, that is the most ass-backwards statement I have ever heard. Capcom is obviously in charge of their IP and what games end up coming to various platforms. And obviously Street Fighter stuff has to do well enough on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo seemed to be somewhat pleased with Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers. Capcom themselves was even pleased with sales of the game, considering it was kind of an overpriced port of Street Fighter 2, but I still loved it because I love Street Fighter 2. And of course we had the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection that I think also sold well on the Nintendo Switch. So why should people have to ask Nintendo for more Street Fighter when Capcom is the company that controls it? It's just like, why would you even say this? Like, why would you even say this? Capcom is just such an ass-backwards company. So yes, Capcom wants you to port bag to Nintendo to get more Street Fighter, even though Nintendo has no control over the Street Fighter IP. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on all of the news in the comments section down below. Be sure to check out the merch store. We got some new AEW inspired RGT merchandise. We got hats finally. I'm very excited for that. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check that out. And as always guys, thank you for your constant support. Thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.